Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today we're back in the home studio. We're on the Skypes, but we're only Skyping in just down the road, just down to St Kilda Road, not too far away, to touch base with one of our most popular guests. I think she's in the top 3 for most downloaded episodes, I think, but why wouldn't she? Tracy Gardner, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Now, we actually pushed this recording about half an hour earlier because you've been working, and I've got some kind of cold thing going on, but we're going to push through. We're going to persevere.
Ooh, that is Melbourne. Everyone has a cold right now.
I had a flu shot today. I had to go get my flu shot today. Small children, you just got to get the flu shots. So I've got a very sore right arm right now where the lady jabbed me.
I am not that responsible, sir. I'm sorry. I do not get flu shots.
Oh, that's all right. I don't think you have to worry about infecting my children. So that's
sweet.
Not a problem. That's what childcare is for infecting children.
Mm.
Yeah, but the lady, the nurse who did it was going, oh, we've had 19,000 cases of flu this year, and it's the highest it's ever been. And there's this strain from here and this strain. I'm like, oh God, all right, just give me the damn shot, and I'll be on my way.
Are there 19,000 people in Melbourne?
Sorry. I think there's 19,000 people with flus. I don't know. You've probably served 19,000 people in Melbourne.
I'm like, I live in Melbourne, but it doesn't feel like there's 19,000 people here.
Yeah, if you don't venture out of the 1 kilometre radius that you live in Melbourne, from the centre of Melbourne, you probably wouldn't be aware that there's I'm only about sort of 2 kilometres from you, but I'm sure it feels like the absolute burbs if you came all the way out to Glen Iris, Tracy. What's with all these trees and footpaths and kids on bikes? And
there would be a severe lack of like man buns and tattoos.
Oh, well, I live in a dry zone, so there's parts of Melbourne that are still complete dry zones.
What does that mean?
Well, it means there's no pubs. There are no bars or pubs.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's some sort of archaic law from like they brought it in like in the 20s or 30s or something, and it's just been like that forever. And all the oldies who live in these suburbs are like, oh, we like the dry zones. We don't need any bars and clubs and things. But apparently it's going to change soon. So, anarchy will reign soon.
Yeah.
You can start moving your empire out here.
Yeah, my bar empire.
That's right. Now, you've been working very hard on getting a new venue up. So you're just saying that you've been inhaling a lot of... I was going to say building chemicals and things. Is that what's going on?
I mean, not intentionally, but like, yeah, it does happen.
Some people on Chapel Street will pay good money for that.
Yeah, I was going to say we're not like sitting there intentionally inhaling things, but it is, part of the job. The funny thing is, like, in America, when you're building a venue, you have all these like safety things. And in Australia, everyone is just like, oh no, we got this, mate. And like, I got
your Australian accent's really coming along too.
No, it's really bad. But I got these masks for everyone on team because I saw us like hacking away at like mold and dust and like, building down walls. And like, I was like, okay, guys, like we should probably wear masks. I bought 2 packs of masks. Guess where they ended up?
Ashtrays?
Yeah, unused in like the corner. Just no one heeded my safety. Like I tried to be like the mom of the building site, and that just went out the window. So
you were safety mom.
Yeah. So I tried. I tried.
You tried.
Yeah.
So last time I saw you was actually it's featured on Andy and Catherine's podcast where we popped down to the bar that you were working at and tried a celebration, and you were a wealth of knowledge in between sort of serving the general public. You sort of ducked in, ducked out, and laid out some advice about celebration. How was it watching from the sidelines this year and not being an active participant?
It was kind of awesome because honestly, like I said this on Twitter, but I genuinely meant it from the bottom of my heart. Like I've been able to experience a lot of conventions, and I've been to Celebration. I've been to Celebration Anaheim and Celebration Orlando, but like seeing all of my Australian friends, like you guys, obviously, you guys have so much fun. it didn't really feel like I was on the sidelines. It felt like I was kind of like rooting for like,
Aw.
yeah, it felt like I was just like happy to see like you guys happy and see you guys having fun. And Adam and I made a very deliberate decision that like we weren't going to go this year. And there were a
Yep.
lot of factors playing in.
Yep.
One of the biggest being I don't want to be cold. I'm
Oh, well, it
sick of
snowed on the
Melbourne.
Sunday that we
I
were
know,
there.
I know. And I'm sick of Melbourne cold and I'm an LA girl. Like I like my warm weather and Melbourne has broken me as a person. Like these
Yeah,
are
it'll do that.
yeah,
It's only May as well. We're not even
I
in
know.
the guts of it yet.
But my first winter in Melbourne just killed me. Like I've never experienced a winter like Melbourne winters and they are brutal. But it wasn't just that. It was just like for me, like I just needed to like take a step back and kind of enjoy Star Wars again from like my own perspective.
Yep.
And watching you guys enjoy it just made me really happy. And watching Catherine go there and just have the time of her life and see all these pictures of people like excited to take photos with Catherine, like that was probably one of my favorite things. And like seeing you with a bunch of people, like because you guys were very much my family when I moved to Melbourne. Like you guys
Hmm.
had this big like pub dinner for me and Adam and like Peter and his wife like got me gifts and like you guys welcomed us with open arms and I very much consider you guys like my Melbourne Star Wars family and like in a lot of ways. So to see you guys go to Celebration have that much fun, I really didn't get FOMO. It
Oh, well,
just
that's.
yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad because we were kind of like because we had a great time obviously, and it's been talked about ad nauseum on this podcast and other places and stuff. But I'm always happy to bring it up because we had a great time. But it was we were like, oh, it'd be nice if Tracy and Adam were here to enjoy it because we had a great time. But at the same time, I'm sure as soon as they went, hey, it's coming to Anaheim, you were like,
Yeah.
yeah, the sun. It'll be in the sun.
Yeah, but also like when it comes to Anaheim, I get to show you guys around like my hometown. Like we can go to,
Yeah.
we can go to Newport Beach, we can go to LA, like we can maybe like see my old stomping grounds and yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
well,
just be fun.
we tapped you for sort of advice about celebration, but it was more very much like what to expect, how big it will be, how to get how to work how the convention kind of works and things and all that kind of stuff. And even that was kind of different because it
Yeah,
turned
it
out
was
that
so
the
different.
queuing was different. There were no lines anymore. The lottery system,
Yeah.
for the most part, was pretty successful, especially if you got into lots of stuff like we did. But at
Yeah.
the same time, even people who didn't get into lotteries went, oh, well, I didn't spend half my day in a line. People got to do more and see more stuff,
Yeah.
which was cool. But I mean, and that was just really like, oh, Tracy's been a couple of times. She goes to a bunch of cons. She'll just give good advice about surviving cons.
Yeah.
But this time it's like the wheels have turned. So many times, we hit you up on Twitter about things about Melbourne. Now it's just the Queen of Anaheim, the LA Queen, the fountain of knowledge. In the next sort of 11 months or so, as it gets closer and closer, I'm sure people will start bombarding you with stuff about.
I know,
where do
but
we stay,
I wonder
what
what
do we
things have
do?
changed since I've been there. Because, like, it's been 2 years since I've lived there.
Would it change that much? The roads and the things, and the I don't
No,
know.
I'm sure the roads haven't. And I don't think we looked at, like, the hotels. I don't think those have changed. But,
Yeah, so that was
yeah.
the thing the thing that I was kind of wondering, probably more than anything, because like Chicago, we just Airbnb'd it. Like you could do hotels.
That's so brave.
But
I'm terrified of Airbnb.
well, we had it worked out really well, but I mean we booked everything and it was sorted, and then I was sort of the cheerleader for it because I'd done it a bunch in Europe and even America before in New York, and I was like yeah, it's really easy, and then I convinced everyone to come along because it was going to be so much cheaper, and then we like got our booking cancelled on us and lost our booking,
Wait,
and then we
at
had to start all
Celebration
over.
Chicago?
Yeah, so it was
Oh,
before. It was
fuck.
about. I think it
Oh,
was about.
sorry.
No. We can swear. It's fine.
Okay.
Yes. The door's open. No, it was probably in February. I think roughly.
Oh, wow.
I just got this email going, hey, the person's cancelled your booking, and they gave some really weak source excuse about why it had been cancelled. And I think they just went. I mean, supposedly they can't rebook the dates, but I reckon they probably did, for more
Oh,
money.
my God.
So I had to call up the other guys and say, and I was already, I think there was a bit of trepidation as it was, and I had to come like, guys, don't panic, but we've we'd lost the booking and we're going to have to find something else. And the silver lining was that basically Eric Struthers and Emily Lind and the Bad Motivators, that they had booked a place. They booked their place, and we just went, oh, well, we'll rebook this and we'll find out where they are and we'll stay as close as we can. So we ended up being a 10-minute walk from them in Chicago. So it meant that we had a little posse and a little gang even after hours as well, which was great.
Amazing.
So the thing with Anaheim is I'm going, well, I don't know, because I know Disney's there. It's like, well, do you go in the hotels? Is it just hotel land? Are there even houses? Is Anaheim like a suburb? Is it a town? What is
yes,
it?
but
Is it better to still stay in Anaheim or a hotel than come all the way from LA? It's like 45 minutes from LA, isn't it?
You would never stay in LA to get to Anaheim. No, the traffic could be 4 hours sometimes.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. No, have you not heard of LA traffic? I mean, is that? Not
I have heard of it, but I didn't. I was just kind of working.
I'm sorry. Do people from LA not talk about our traffic enough? Should we make this more clear?
People moan enough about Melbourne traffic. I can't be worried about other towns'
Oh my God, no! Whenever I'm stuck in like Melbourne traffic, I'm like, this is nothing, you guys.
It's a breeze.
Like, I'm like, we might get home in an hour. You don't understand.
Are you driving in Melbourne at the moment? I think last time you were on, you were sort of talking about whether you're going to drive in Melbourne.
I don't drive in Melbourne yet. No, I don't really have a need to. And Adam.
Well, you don't leave that 1 kilometer radius, so you know.
Adam still maintains that I drive like too much of a dickhead in America. That like I would just lose my license immediately in Melbourne because there's too many rules here. Like, you've seen driving in California. Like driving in California, like our rules are kind of like suggestions. It's like the pirate code. It's like they're not quite rules, they're suggestions. So like a stop sign in California is like, well, like maybe I'll stop, maybe I'll just kind of like roll through that motherfucker, like, like it. And also the speed limit is like it says 45, but to me that means like, maybe like 55, 60. Like,
and this is in miles too, isn't it? Because you haven't got. You've refused to accept metric.
No, I'm really good at metric now.
I was gonna say, now you're renovating a venue. You're like, you gotta get down to metric.
Do you know how many times I like secretly Googled on my phone centimeters to millimeters? I literally hid like in a corner, and like
my secret shame.
Yeah, it's really bad. Like being an American on a job site in Australia is not a good time. Especially with the tape measures, because the tape measures are all made to they're all made to millimeters. So like if you don't know the metric system, like there's no inches for the Americans.
No. We left that a long time ago. We turned our back on that stuff. I don't even know what's not metric. What's the other system called? Just
Imperial.
The old system. Imperial, yeah, it even sounds old.
Yeah,
it's probably what the Imperials used. And the
it
Rebels
also
all
makes
about
no
metrics.
sense. It makes no sense at all.
No, it's all like feet and stones. It's all old stuff.
Okay, we don't use stones. You're British. You guys use
That's
stones.
British. Yeah, no, they do British. Then when I lived in England, they're still big on stones. Yeah.
I work with two British guys. They use stones.
There you go. You're down with it. You're down with the lingo. So Anaheim. So because Disney's there, so is the convention center basically next door to Disney, or is it sort of?
It's across the street and down a little bit.
Right.
But it's walking distance.
Right, it's walking distance. Okay, I'm just trying to get I mean, I can Google Maps all this, but I've got the Queen of LA here, so I'm going to tap her brain while
Well,
while
technically,
she's here.
it's not LA. It's Orange County.
Okay. Would you rather be the Queen of Orange County or the Queen of LA?
I mean, I lived in Orange County for a very long time, so Orange County maybe.
All right, we'll stick with that. That could be the episode title, "The Queen of Orange County." Okay, so I'm just trying to think about the convention center itself. Because obviously at Chicago, the thing that they had like the stadium next door, like the basketball stadium was next door to the convention center. So all the big panels were in this sort of like 10,000 seater stadium. So it did mean that a lot of people got into those big panels, which was cool, which worked quite well for the lottery because it was, people still missed out, but more people got into those rooms. I mean, what's the big room at Anaheim hold?
Oh shit. Roughly? Honestly, I don't know because I've been to I've been to BlizzCon in the Anaheim Convention Center where they made a whole hall like a panel. Because, like, have you heard of how BlizzCon does it? They don't
No.
section out they don't section out their panels.
Oh, okay.
So they actually make it so that like everyone can go in. So I've been to panels at like Anaheim Convention Center, which I actually think would be kind of cool if they did that for Star Wars.
They
Like,
just opened the whole thing up and just said, "We're in here."
yeah, they pretty much did that. So that was probably the biggest panel I've ever seen for anything. But granted, it was BlizzCon, so it was a very different setup. And then I also saw like yeah, so I've seen some really big things happen at the Anaheim Convention Center, but I didn't quite see them happen for like cons. Like I went to WonderCon when it was at Anaheim Convention Center, it just wasn't planned right. Versus going to like the StarCraft finals that they somehow made a huge stadium where like everyone could fit in at the Anaheim Convention Center.
So it must be a pretty sort of
versatile. Yeah. So
yeah, versatile. Yeah. Okay.
Like,
well, I guess we'll just have to see.
I guess that's like a hard question to answer because I went to like the StarCraft finals where it was like this enormous stadium where they built like all this room for everyone, and even with a line outside, we could still kind of see.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't really know the numbers of BlizzCon attendees versus like Star Wars Celebration attendees, but I'm gonna kind of like venture a guess that like there's more people at BlizzCon.
Right. Okay.
Is that fair, or is that like totally...
I don't know. I don't know enough about BlizzCon to sort of comment one way or the other.
Maybe I'd have to.
I think Celebration. I think they said Chicago was about 30,000 a day. I think that's the number I heard got tossed around, which sounds like a lot, but it was a pretty, once everyone sort of spread out and stuff, and doing things, which kind of meant you had a kind of 1 in 3 chance of getting into that sort of big arena for the big panels. But I mean, there's no new movie next year, so
Well, when you go to San Diego Comic Con, they fit 100,000 people in just one. It's maybe 10,000. I think they fit 10,000 people in Hall H.
That's the big hall, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they fit 10,000 people in Hall H. I could be wrong.
They talked about, the lottery from Chicago, whether that was sort of born out of, because the whole thing with Chicago was like they weren't doing queuing. Queuing was never really on the table because of, one, the weather, and there was nowhere to put them outside because it's too cold. And I think that there was talk that it's sort of like a union town, like they don't let people camp on the streets. They don't have people don't work to babysit a bunch of nerds overnight, all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah. I think they've been planning for a while that there's not going to be any lottery. There's going to be a lottery. There's going to be no queuing. This is what we're going to do. And became, obviously that's what it turned out to be. And given that it turned out to be pretty successful, I think everybody was pretty happy with that system going forward. I don't think they'll go back to overnight lines next year.
I mean, they don't make sense. Overnight lines are bad. Like, they're not good. Like, I don't enjoy them. They kind of ruin my con experience, to be honest. Like, look, I've slept in line for years. Like, since I was, like, going back so many years, since I was, like, 24 years old. So that's a lot of years of sleeping in lines and then losing, like, entire days, because the next day you're a zombie, and then you miss out on stuff the next day because you're so tired. And last Celebration, Adam and I lost an entire day that we kind of regretted because we slept in line for the Last Jedi panel, and it wasn't that great of a panel, and it wasn't worth like losing our whole next day. And like Adam was so jet lagged that we were like so tired and just needed to go back to the room, and it was like could we have done other things? Like, could we have met up with our friends, and could we have gone to booths, and I think that's like the key to like being happy at conventions. Like, I've had entire conventions where I didn't go to a single panel, and I kind of gave up that stress.
Yep. Well, it just alleviated that completely. Like, we knew, we were lucky we got into a bunch of panels, so we could plan around that. But even the people who didn't just said, well, that's all right. Well, I'll do this and I'll do that, and I'll plan my time. And it just, people just ended up doing more stuff. And it just meant that, we were we would socialize and things in the evenings and stuff, but it meant
Yeah.
that, we were still getting a good sort of, 6 or 7 hours sleep a night because even if you're out till 1 in the morning, one or 2 in the morning, you're still getting some sleep every night. And, I got there after being awake for 30 something hours and then got a good night's sleep and then was all right. If I had to get up and then go, all right, now you got to stay overnight on some concrete floor to see a panel, it would have just, it would have killed me. It would have ruined me.
Yeah.
So where were you when the episode 9 trailer dropped? I think it was like 3 in the morning here. Did you wait till were you working? Did you get up?
I got off work. So I got off work at Holy Grail. And I literally went straight home and we streamed the entire thing from home.
You're like, this is all right.
Yeah. It's really funny because my venue manager is also like a huge Star Wars nerd. He actually used to listen to Red Bull Girl. But like, I'm very lucky to be surrounded by like all my colleagues are Star Wars nerds. But yeah, so we came home and watched the panel and yeah, it was fun watching everything from home. But watching that panel from home, we literally did the whole holy, like, yeah, we were blown away.
So so was that just on YouTube, wasn't it? So you just stream it on YouTube, and because I didn't really see.
We streamed it from the Celebration site.
Okay, yep. Because we saw. I didn't think I saw. I think the one morning that we didn't have the Galaxy's Edge panel. So I think the morning of we were basically like, because I think that evening was Steele's live show. We're like, oh well, that's going to be a late night. We'll we'll go to the convention about midday. We won't have to get there early for panels and stuff. So I think we all kind of slept in, and I think I was eating my breakfast and I put the Galaxy's Edge panel up on my iPad and watched it for about 10 minutes and went, oh, this is pretty boring. I think I'll just Galaxy's Edge didn't really super excite me. Although, was that something that you'll try and get to when you're over there, or you're a big Disney person?
Yeah, like I had a Disneyland pass like my entire adult life, and yes, I want to go to Galaxy's Edge, but
you and everyone else.
Yeah, of course. Like, but if we have to get a reservation and we only get a couple hours, that's fine. Like, I kind of like the way they're doing it. Like, I'm very spoiled. I had a point in my life where I was going to Disneyland like 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh my God.
I know.
How can you keep riding the teacups that long?
The teacups are amazing. So I will ride them over and over. No, actually, like the teacup area of like Disneyland, like the teacup area with Alice in Wonderland, that's actually my favorite part of Disneyland. But no, like I just kind of consider myself very lucky that I used to go there so much that I'm not going to sit here and complain that they're doing like reservations for Galaxy's Edge. Like, if we don't get in on next trip, we don't get in on next trip. My entire adult life, I went to Disneyland like so much that it's like that was a privilege. So, look.
Well, when I had Matt Grant and his mate Sean from Blue Bantha Milk on a few weeks ago, and we started talking about like it's in Anaheim. Disney's next door. Will they do some kind of tie-in with it? Will they do some sort of, because they do Disney evenings and things, like will they do some sort of tie-in with the convention and have events there in the evening and stuff? But I mean, we were just completely speculating because I think Matt had been to Disneyland once. I'd never been before. So
they did for Disney World because Disney World is bigger. They didn't for Disneyland. Right. So I don't think that they will for Disneyland. You have to understand that Disneyland is a lot smaller than Disney World.
Right.
So for Orlando, they did I think it was called like Galaxy Nights or something.
Okay.
And they did that for Celebration Orlando, but I didn't go to any of them because I honestly didn't get tickets to go to Disney World because Disney World intimidates me.
Because so like, you're like, hey, I know my Disney.
It really is. Adam's been, and Adam went by himself and just did all the parks, but like I'm very much like, when I go to a Disney park, I want to see everything. So I don't really want to go and just see a couple things. And I knew that if I bought tickets, I would have just gone and seen a couple things. And I would have gotten like that weird like FOMO feeling. So
Disney FOMO.
Yeah. So when I was at Celebration Orlando, I literally just didn't even try to go to Disney World. Because I was just like, if I go to Disney World, I want to like spend a day in each park. And like, I want to do it the right way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, good to get this insider knowledge. This is the stuff that only the Queen of Orange County can tell me.
Yeah.
This is the other information I get. So we'll just jump back to episode 9 trailer. So going going into like before the trailer drops, what were you kind of thinking you were going to see? Like, did you sort of have expectations of what you wanted to see before the trailer dropped, or you just like take me JJ on the ride? I'm just happy to see whatever.
Kind of take me on the ride. This is the first time I've avoided spoilers.
Oh, is this the plan all the way through?
Yeah, like this is gonna be the first Star Wars film since like the new trilogy that like I'm actually avoiding spoilers, and like I just want to see what happens, and I'm definitely like JJ, take me along for the ride.
That's not a bad way to be.
Yeah.
I'm not a spoiler guy anyway. I'll just watch the trailers and stuff, and
Yeah.
I remember last time you were on, you were talking about how you had a bunch of it spoiled for you, before like just before you saw the film and things. So, yeah, that'll be exciting. Did you sort of like? I guess the Palpatine thing is the big thing. Like, was that even in your wildest dreams?
No, but I'm really excited about it. It makes a lot of sense, and I'm super keen. Like, I'm excited to see what that means.
So settle this. This is that Death Star chunk of wreckage.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Death Star 2? And are we on Endor? Can we put this to bed?
Maybe, but why would it land that way?
Because it's right above it. I had the same argument with a discussion with Catherine and Andy because it sits right above the forest moon. It like
that doesn't look like Endor
down.
though.
Yeah, but Earth doesn't look the same everywhere.
I don't know. I mean, look, if they went
to have that kind of vegetation, you'd have to have some ocean somewhere.
Don't you think like it would be really, really weird if they went back to Endor?
It would. It
like,
just seems weird. I mean, if that is Death Star 2, it just seems weird that it wouldn't just drop straight down.
I'll be really honest. If we see Ewoks, I'm gonna like leave the theater. I hate Ewoks.
Oh, really? Shots fired. Oh dear. Wow.
I don't like if we see Ewoks in the Rise of Skywalker. I will not be a happy girl. I'll just be like, nope. I will right out of the theater.
So if we end up at the premiere the same on a midnight screen.
We will.
Tracy,
we will definitely.
And then I'm just watching
the same.
and I'll just look around. I'm like,
yep. And I'll just like,
get up,
nope.
And you're like, nope. Fuck this. The Queen of Orange County does not approve. And then she just storms out.
No, but like, come on, that would be so stupid. After all the criticism that like, okay, I don't think that's gonna happen. But honestly,
I mean, there's a danger. Do you think there's a danger of too much fan service now, like post?
No, it's such a
Last Jedi world.
It's such a big galaxy. Why would they end up back on Endor? Like that is just stupid. Like that's my problem that I had with Rebels is like when Rebels ended up on Tatooine, and I was like, no, like you do not like Ezra does not deserve to be on Tatooine. Like that's just not a thing. Like it's a big galaxy. Like open up some planets, people. Like no, like.
I just feel like this, like they're going, this is the end of the Skywalker. It's going to be revisiting the hits. It's going to be like a greatest hits set. It's like I feel like it's going to be a greatest hits tour. It's like when the band comes back and they play their most popular album. I'm kind of with you. I'd like to see lots of new stuff and push the story forward and take risks again. But they are taking risks. But they're taking risks by bringing back stuff that we already know.
But there's no reason to go back to Endor. There's nothing on Endor. Like,
well, if there's a Death Star 2 wreckage that's dropped out of the sky, then I guess there's a reason to go back. I mean, that's the whole.
Maybe,
like, is Palpatine the spirit of Palpatine like in the blown up Death Star chunks, and it's fell out of the sky and fell onto Endor, but that would be the reason to go there. I mean, we discussed this.
Maybe they go there and they like find his voice like in the Death Star or something. I don't know.
But I just assumed that it would be Endor because the Death Star sat right above it. So if it blew up, it'd just fall straight down.
Wait, doesn't Endor have moons though?
Well, people get getting caught on this, going, it's the forest moon of Endor. It's the Endor. It's the Endor. It's like, well, they call it the forest moon of Endor. So the forest of Endor, as in. That's its name, Endor. Like, I think if there's a planet that's also there that it has moons, the moon of Endor, where Return of the Jedi takes place, is the place I'm talking about, and that's called Endor. It's called the Battle of Endor. It's called Endor, playset. Endor
Yeah.
Ewok
And we
playset.
watched
So
the
that's
Ewok Adventures. That'll happen on,
yeah, on
in
Endor.
Endor. Okay, yeah, sweet.
Yep. So Endor is Endor. I mean, maybe you
All right.
can split hairs and go, is it the
If we're
moon? Is
talking
it
about the Caravan of Courage, or is it Caravan of Courage?
Yeah.
What's that Ewok movie?
Yeah, Caravan of Courage,
Yeah.
and then Battle for Endor is the
Yeah.
other one. It's Endor. Endor is Endor.
Those movies are the shit. Sorry, I'm still allowed to swear in this podcast, yeah?
Yes, you are.
All right,
you heard
sweet.
I don't know if you've heard my celebration blood pods. I think on the first night of celebration, we were at a bar, a whole bunch of people. There was about 40 people.
Oh my
met up and had a drink
God.
on the first night, and I think I just started recording with Charlie Ashby, and I think it was Claire as well, Claire Stribling, and then Colleen came by and grabbed the
Oh
microphone.
my God,
and said,
I love
"Eat,"
all
and-
of them.
and just goes, "Eat the ass." So like the second thing that was uttered on my blog pods was, I could have cut it out, but I'm like, who could be bothered?
Yeah.
You know. But okay, so Palpatine's back. What are you thinking about Rey? She's looking like she's pretty cool, calm and collected, composed, in charge of got her house in order.
Yeah, I think she's training with Kylo.
Is that what you reckon's going on?
Yeah. Unless they're really fucking with us in the editing. I think that she's training with that. Okay, or the other
Do you
thing I
want
can
to see
think.
Rey? Do you want to see Rey still train, or do you want to see her feel like that she's trained enough and she's ready to roll?
I don't think she's trained enough. If I was Rey, I wouldn't feel like I trained enough.
I guess it all depends on how much longer this takes place.
I mean, I really genuinely like Rey, but I don't think if she genuinely is a Jedi, she should never feel like she's trained enough.
Well, the discussion I had was, Luke starts calling himself a Jedi, and he doesn't do any extra training.
Yeah, well,
He
is
starts
Luke
introducing
or Mary Sue?
Well, yeah.
Let's talk about
He starts
that.
passing-
He
he
just
gets-
magically jumped up and like grabbed a bunch of shit, and yeah.
Have you
Maybe.
seen the Galaxy of Adventures cartoon, the Luke on the sail barge one?
No.
I almost want to get you to watch it in real time and tell me what you think. It's actually quite cool. It's Leia does like a flying kick across the sail barge.
That's fucking sick.
It's cool. I'd almost get you to do it now, but we've had a few technical things. I'm not going to push your computer any more than it needs to, live on air.
I already
while it goes
switched
down.
computers.
Yeah, Tracy
Okay.
was very accommodating. So you think she's training?
Well, yeah, I mean, when you see okay, so I think there's one of two things. I think probably either Finn or Poe are in the TIE fighter, and they did false editing to make us think that it was Kylo. But like, I think either Finn or Poe are in the TIE fighter, and they're training Rey, and they're making Rey ready to just like kind of, because of course she needs more training. Like, why would she not need more training? Like, come on.
Do all Jedis need more training, or
Yeah,
is it
our girls.
okay? So
need
it's
more
just
training.
is it just like it's just like if you're a soccer player, you just need to keep training every week.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
our girl's a soccer player on Jakku, but now she's a soccer player trying to play on like other planets. Like, I got her.
She's
Like,
going to the World Cup.
yeah,
and
exactly.
She's got to stay
going to the World
sharp.
Cup. She's on the Olympic team. Like, come on, let's be real. Like, let's be good to our female characters. Yes,
Okay.
Rey is a fucking badass, but does she need a little more training? Of course, she needs more finesse. Like, yeah. Like,
Okay.
look, Luke didn't need more training. He was just automatically a Jedi Master. But because there were no other Jedi, he could just call himself a Jedi Master. Like,
I mean, I was talking about like I had a discussion last week about Luke between Empire and Jedi.
yeah,
That
but
he-
no
he
one
gets-
else
he
was there to
gets his-
challenge him.
Well, but he gets his butt kicked by Vader at the end of
Yeah,
Empire.
exactly.
And then at the start of Return of the Jedi, he just turns up, he starts calling himself a Jedi Knight. You can do all this great stuff. It's like, well, what happened, dude? You're just doing backflips in your backyard? Like, who taught you all this stuff? You were pretty useless last time.
Have you heard about your dad? Like, there's the next thing you do is kill younglings. Oh, wait, that's the next thing he did. I mean,
Yeah, he's a bad bloke.
he actually, like, literally tried to kill his nephew. That was the next thing he did because he didn't get enough training. And at least Rey is gonna try to get some training. No?
Well, yeah, she's got those books still. I don't know. I was a bit sort of going, all right, well, she's got the books. It just depends on how much time. Like, I agree that you keep doing your skills. You got to keep sharp. I got that, but I was more just going, will she be at a level of, Jedi, and it looks like she's at a level of sort of Jedi competency level with what Luke's showing us in Jedi.
Look, she's the level that Anakin was. She was a level of swinging things around and doing backflips and being really, like, flashy, but that's not a Jedi. Like, I think they established that a lot. Like, Anakin was really good at doing flashy things and, like, being very physically good at stuff. So was Asajj. So was, like, oh, what's his name? There was another, like, Jedi who became, like, a fallen Jedi who was really, really, like, physically capable, but it doesn't mean that they're Jedi.
It's sort of the ones who kind of break out of the mold a little bit, or don't follow the rules, or kind of don't, are ultimately more interesting, because Jedis can kind of be kind of boring when they just follow the rules all the time.
Yeah.
So what was I going to say then? I had a really good question for you then, Tracy, and I've completely lost. Oh, right, yes.
So sorry.
No. This is all good stuff. So who's the Skywalker in Rise of Skywalker then?
Ooh.
Who does the Queen of Orange County think? What did you think of the title when it came up? Was it anything that was even?
I loved
like,
it.
What?
I loved it.
Give a little cheer jump off the couch when that happened.
Yeah. I think it's Ben.
Ben Solo.
Yeah, I think it's. Sorry, I think it might. I might be wrong. I don't know.
Well, I posed a question on Twitter a few weeks ago, which was, can the Skywalker saga end, which they keep saying, this is the end of the Skywalker saga, can the Skywalker saga end with any Skywalkers alive at the end of the film?
But who else would there be other than Ben?
Leia?
But how much... How much footage do they have for, like, her to actually...
Well, I don't know. Well, this is the whole question. It's like, would she just, in the wings, but is it a... Yeah, I don't know about the Leia thing. Like, they obviously feel confident enough to do it, but at the same time, if she's just in a couple of scenes and then she's just not in the story, it's like, well, this is a bit rubbish that she's not in the story at all.
I think one of the things that, like, people feel really... Okay, I'm going to just, like, be really honest. I was ready to, like, mourn and be super, super okay with Princess Leia being gone in The Last Jedi. And I was prepared.
Window.
What's that?
When she was blown out the window.
Yeah, and, like, I was prepared for that. And I think that they could have given her a very, very proper ending in The Last Jedi. And I've never cried over a celebrity death, and I literally, like, sobbed for days over Carrie Fisher. I don't think that they should draw her out in Rise of the Skywalker. I think that they need to just kind of man up and figure out a way to, like, end her legacy. Like, they need to figure out a way to, like, end Princess Leia. And they need to do it. I think they should have done it in The Last Jedi. I'm really sorry. I'm just going to say that.
I guess it's harder because I guess she'd done everything in The Last Jedi. Is it more of a disservice to cut half of her role out of the film to kill her off earlier when you weren't going to do that? You know what I mean? Like, you just go, oh, we just had to kill her off now because she died. Actually, she wasn't going to die. We just cut off half her scenes. You're kind of like, oh, that's almost... That's kind of worse, really, because you just... I don't know.
They shouldn't have killed her off, like, brutally in The Last Jedi, but they could have done, like, extended scenes or whatever. Like, if they'd done extended scenes and, like, they've done reshoots for everything imaginable, there was a way to, like, kind of figure out without her, like, I don't know, to see her, like, extended from scenes that she didn't do into, like, Rise of the Skywalker, and to make her the Skywalker. I don't really like the idea of her performances being extended beyond what they were. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sort of like co-opted to fit, to sort of shoehorn into a narrative that you've invented.
Exactly. And I don't think Carrie would have wanted that, because Carrie was very deliberate about writing and notes and her script. So I think if she knew that her script was being manipulated and her lines were being manipulated, I don't really know that she would have liked that. And I think it's kind of... I think they kind of maybe need to, like, figure out a way to tie that knot up very nicely, because that's what she would have wanted. Like, her as a writer and her as, like, an enthusiast of film, she would have wanted this tied up nicely.
Yeah.
she wouldn't have wanted it like dragged on. I don't know if that.
You can kind of almost see her, going, oh, why do you just, kill me off? Why bring me back from the dead? You know what I mean? Like, it almost feels like one of those that she'd just be like, what? Yeah, I was done. I don't think she'd be sort of. I think she, like you said, she'd be more precious about the things that she did rather than trying to shoe her in lately. But I mean, they're obviously, trying to make the best of a bad situation, and they seem confident to do it. And if it's good enough for her family and her daughter, particularly, is going along with it, then you've got to go, all right, well, there must be enough here that it warrants. Because I feel like that they would be pretty quick to shut it down if it wasn't working.
Well,
but
and they've
I guess
done
we'll see.
really well with like everything so far, like with Rogue One, where they did CGI and like I think Billie Lourd will be the first one to step in if she feels like anyone dishonors her mother's.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is definitely more preferable than sort of creepy CGI Princess Leia or something like that. Like, I think that I think that there will be situations where there'll be a double, the back of her head, so she's in a scene, which I guess is, okay, fair enough, But every time that she's, front on and she's talking, it's really her. But well, I guess we'll just have to see. Hopefully that won't cause you to walk out of the cinema like Ewoks will.
No, I'm joking. I won't walk out if there's Ewoks.
I just want you to do it now.
I just have a terrible sense of humor. But now you're all going to be
hopefully I'm sitting close to you.
And we all watch the movie together. I'm going to like fake it up and like I'm going to like walk a couple feet and then sit back down.
Have you seen Avengers Endgame?
Yes. Oh.
How did you feel about that? Sort of, because they were kind of going, oh, this is the conclusion. This is the conclusion of this thing, and it was all.
Oh, and it's been a lot.
Yeah. Did you think it was satisfying?
Yeah.
I mean, it felt very satisfying for those movies and those characters, but I don't think that style of thing would be satisfying for Star Wars for me. As in, like, everybody all turns up at the end, and there's like 50 billion Star Wars characters all.
Yeah, but you have to understand that it's different. It's new.
Oh no, I do.
And it's just been over the last 10 years. And look, there's no way to make Star Wars fans happy. Like. Look, you gave them The Force Awakens, and they all complained that it was too close to A New Hope. Like, that was the complaint. And then you gave them The Last Jedi, and they rioted like little man babies, and they literally lost their goddamn shit.
Yeah.
And
but now we're getting a just today where it's happening with Game of Thrones, where people are really upset with the way that that's playing out because.
And I don't understand that because
spoilers to Game of Thrones, but did you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
I don't know if you do or not.
I read the books and I watched the show, and I'm very I'm up to date, and I don't get it. To me, this seems very natural.
Well, I was a bit sort of like, well, I kind of assumed that was what was going to happen. They've been hammering the fact that these people go nuts for all the seasons and stuff, and that she's flipped her lid and she's been, she's crossed the line, whether she just needed a little nudge. But, the whole thing of going, this is another, and a lot of there's a lot of discourse that started, and then the conversations kind of moved on to, well, like, just because it's not going the way you want it doesn't mean...
Well... And the thing that people need to understand is that, like, Daenerys doesn't understand, like, Westeros politics. She just knows that she's the heir to the throne. So when she gets there and there's, like, the Carl Starks and the Starks and, like, all these different families and, like, they're all trying to tell her, like, hey, you need to chill out and, like, you need all these people's allegiances, she's like, I have dragons and I'm the heir to the throne and I don't have to listen to anyone. And
also, I tried playing it your way, and you gave me nothing but disrespect. So now I'm going to do it my way.
Right, and that also worked for her on so many different continents. And also, why are we sad about the people of like the Red Keep? Like the people of King's Landing are shit. Like the books made it like very, very clear that the people of King's Landing were shit people, like all throughout like the books and the show. Like,
let them burn, Tracy says.
Well, kind of. I mean, they cheered for Ned Stark's death. They cheered for like Cersei's like shame, and they just like kind of follow. And then like they treat their poor people really bad. Like they're kind of like America. Like they kind of just need to be like burnt to the ground and like oh my god, I'm the worst American ever. Like
Dear.
I just got put on an FBI watch list, but like
Oh
yeah.
dear.
No,
That's
I
all right.
just
Well, at least that'll count as a download stat when they download it to
yeah.
listen. So that's good.
Wait.
But,
But like that's
um,
kind of how I feel about it. Like
no,
Daenerys,
it's a
yeah.
good point because it's it's a very similar. It just feels like Last Jedi, but
Yeah.
with Game of Thrones fans,
Oh
where
god.
they're like, "You can't do it like this. I've invested too much. This isn't how it's supposed to play out." Is that assumption that people get in their head
It's like
canon how they think
exactly
things are
how it
going to
was gonna
play
play
out?
out. Like
So I don't know about the Rise of Skywalker if we're going to get I feel like it's going to be a pretty overall pretty safe film. I think there'll be a few twists and turns and things, but ultimately at the end of the day, good will triumph over evil. There'll be a little party at the end. It'll just depend on who makes it out, who lives, who dies. But I don't. Kylo, I guess, is sort of the really interesting one. Do you want to see a Ben Demption, or do you want to see Ben fall down a hole in a fiery death?
I would love to see a Ben Demption. Kylo is probably my favorite character of like Kylo and Rey are my two favorite characters. Like I love them. And I don't necessarily love them together, but I guess to speak to like the not characters not ending up how you want them to be and then just accepting it is like I talked on Rebel Girl for years about how Rey like spoke to me because she was like abandoned, she didn't know her family and she was just trying to find her family, and like when Maz Kanata kind of gave her the lightsaber and like insinuated that like your past is not behind you, it's ahead of you, like that that was so meaningful for me. And then I'll never forget sitting in the theaters and having Rey poke the glass and say like, show me my family. And when she did that, I held my breath, and it literally felt like an eternity for me because I related to this character so much who had never met her family, and I've never met my family. And I kind of wanted to see myself in this character, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted. Everything got flipped on my head. It just was nothing. And I literally sat back in my seat in the theater, and I kind of zoned out for the rest of the movie because it was just like the one thing I wanted is I wanted to know who Rey's parents were because I identified with that character so much. But I wasn't angry. I wasn't volatile. I wasn't a bad person over the fact that like the one thing I wanted from Star Wars I didn't get.
Yep.
And I really don't understand why other people can't be that way. And this is something very emotional to me. Like,
yeah, and you've actually got some skin in the game as well.
Yeah.
You're not just someone who just like, well, I just thought that's how it should be because I had an opinion.
And I had
keep going. Sorry.
What's that?
I said no. Keep going.
No, but like, and I had people telling me like that night, like, oh well, like literally being aggressive with me on Twitter, being like, well, if you thought Rey was supposed to be someone, you don't understand, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, no, you don't understand. Like, I needed Rey to be someone because I saw myself in Rey as like a foster kid. And like, I remember being that foster child, like wanting to know who my family was. And when that didn't come through in that moment when she said, show me my parents, and she just saw herself, that devastated me. And I don't think a film has devastated me like that, but I wasn't angry. I didn't go to like forums and cry about it and freak out. And like, I just understood.
You had a different angle as well.
Yeah.
You weren't just going, well, she has to be a Skywalker. It wasn't really about that at all. It was, like you said, it was something very personal to you.
Yeah.
But if there was like, if J.J. Abrams turned around in Rise of Skywalker and basically retconned and Kylo's like, actually, I was fooling you all along. Your family is actually, Dad's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Would you find that more offensive?
I wouldn't really mind, but like, I guess the point is, I don't own these characters. The directors own these characters and the writers own these characters. And like, it's not for me to be super angry about. Like, was I devastated? Did I not see that coming? Yes. But like, if JJ decided to like retcon this and make Rey someone, yeah, sure, that would be amazing. But I just think like the fan base and like the anger that comes from all of this, like we need to understand that like these aren't our characters and they need to go the path of like the way they're created by like the people who wrote them.
Yep.
And
yeah. No,
maybe chill the fuck out. Because if I can chill the fuck out when that was like a really important moment for me, like I literally talked on podcasts for 2 years about how Rey kind of felt very central to me as like someone who didn't know their parents, and then to have that all retconned, like, and kind of turn out to be like not the way I thought it would be. If I can sit there in a theater and feel devastated and not go online and be a fucking dickhead, then like everyone else can too.
Yeah.
And that was pretty emotional for me. Like that was like kind of a hard moment. So if I cannot be a dickhead from a very emotional moment, like maybe everyone else can like chill out a little bit about their like association to like fanning over like Game of Thrones and Star Wars.
Unless, of course, those Ewoks turn up. And then it's like, burn it down. Nope. Get me on that dragon.
Then I'm out.
I will burn them all.
Yeah. Then I am out of here.
So what else did you see on the celebration coverage that sort of excited you? Stuff like Mandalorian or, I don't know, Clone Wars or Resistance or any of that kind of stuff. Was there anything else that sort of grabbed your imagination?
I haven't watched Resistance yet. Do you suggest it or?
I do. It's, to be honest, it's a grind for the start because it's a kids show. Like it is. It's a kids show, and like even more so than other stuff before. But it gets to about the halfway point of the show, and it slightly pivots. It's still a kids show, but it gets a lot more interesting. It basically bumps. This isn't spoiling it. It basically bumps right up into Force Awakens and what happens in Force Awakens starts to affect the things that happen on the show, and you go, "Oh, this is interesting." And like the events start, and then like the allegiances start changing, and then it gets quite interesting. So what they're actually doing is quite clever now, because the next season is going to roll on into Last Jedi, and then it's going to become this sort of vessel for what happens in between. So yeah, it's still a kids show. I ended up watching. Because I'd watched about the first, I don't know how many episodes are there, 22, 24. I watched the first sort of 10 a while ago and sort of fell off. And then I watched the last 14 in a row on the plane to Celebration. So that's what I did. I just watched them back to back to back to back to back. So I was right sort of versed with it by the time I got to Chicago. So yeah, if you've got time, it's worth it. But, you know, you'll probably watch the first few and go like, this kiddie shit is annoying me. A lot of this kiddie stuff. But, yeah, it's quite. You can kind of see what they're doing. It's quite clever, and yeah, it is good. It's good fun.
Yeah.
And what about Mandalorian?
So excited. I love the cast. Like, oh man, they're just everything seems so good. Like having a TV show like that. Like I think we've waited a really long time for a live action Star Wars TV show, and it's been rumored for years. So like to finally have it, yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it looked great. I mean, we were lucky. We were in the room for it, so we saw the behind the scenes. We saw the footage.
Episode. What was the footage like? Oh my god! So
it looks really expensive.
Yeah,
it looks like doesn't look like television. It just looks like that. It looks great. It was very moody. The production design felt very Rogue One.
Yes. Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. I was
so just as far as the way it's been
shot, felt very Rogue One.
Yeah, so that's that Rogue One thing of seeing a lot of familiar Star Wars things, but shot in a sort of a grittier sort of way.
Oh yeah.
So it looked really cool. You know, it had Imperials. It had there's a lot of little Return of the Jedi nod things in it.
So did you hear that a lot of the 501st guys are like actually in the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the panel, Jon Favreau came out and they were like, well, we were short on stormtroopers, so they call it the 501st.
Yeah.
Shooting and stuff. So
a couple of our friends got to be in it, and then they got a little bit of backlash. So yeah.
Oh, really? What? Just because they were the ones who got to go?
Yeah.
Well, bad luck, dude. You know.
I know.
Too bad.
That's kind of how I feel. I'm kind of like, well, I mean, maybe, and that's how Adam feels as well, because like it was his friends who got picked. So Adam is like, yeah, go my friends, and he's like, everyone else is just like a hater, pretty much.
It's just like right place, right time. It's saying anything, you know. It's like, you know, we got lottery tickets in the panels for Celebration, and people missed out. They were bummed, but they were really happy that we got in. So, you know, I would have been bummed as well, but I would have got over it because I would have been happy for my friends. But,
exactly.
No, it looks really good. It looks expensive.
It looks
they haven't. It looked. There was practical stuff. There was puppets. There was, you know, vehicles. There were creatures. Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. And you know, there's no. They announced the other day that you know, the day after I recorded with Catherine and Andy, we sat there for an hour speculating. I wonder what they'll do next. Wonder what they're going to do with Star Wars. And then the day after, they were like, "No new Star Wars for 3 years."
I know.
So television's where it's going to be at now. So I think that's where our focus is really going to go. So you know, we're going to get.
How do you feel about? So there was a poll about like, do you want The Mandalorian to come out so we can binge watch it, or do you want it to come out episode by episode?
I'm happy to go episode by episode.
Oh no, I want binge watch.
I'm happy to be honest. I have children, so I have very little free time. I don't think I'd be able to binge watch it anyway, realistically. So I guess I'm just like, well, I could probably do one a night, but I couldn't do like, you know, sit there and do 7 hours in a row or anything like that. But I can certainly see why people would want to. But I think Disney will want to, you know, drip feed. This is their big thing. They won't want to drop it all in one go, I reckon. I think they'll try and keep people around for the first 6 weeks of the launch of this thing.
I want to binge watch.
Well, you can just wait. You can stay off the internet for 6 weeks.
I was like, I'm a millennial. I don't want to wait. I'm just
it's going to roll. I think it rolls directly into Rise of Skywalker. So I think if it's 6 or 7 episodes and it's out the first or second week of November, I think the last episode will come out like a few days before the Rise of Skywalker starts.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be sort of Star Wars central. The last, you know, November to December is just going to be wall-to-wall Star Wars.
Yeah. So we're going to San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm kind of wondering like what the Star Wars presence is going to be there, because they've always had like a Lucasfilm pavilion.
Have they started doing less or I know that they did a fair bit of stuff for Force Awakens, but not as much for Last Jedi. They still sort of check in.
I wasn't there for The Last Jedi. I was there when they did the Rogue One pavilion, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, I skipped a year, and I'm going to be back this year. So yeah, I'm curious to see what they do, but I will definitely be reporting from the Lucasfilm pavilion in San Diego Comic-Con.
If you want to come back and report, you know, by all means.
Yeah, but I'm genuinely interested in what they're going to be doing for that. I imagine it's going to be like The Mandalorian.
I think so. I hopefully they should have shown what we got to see in the room anyway. I mean, it's great that we got to see it, but it would have been really great for everybody else to see it. I don't think there was any reason why everybody couldn't see the footage. You know, I think there's shaky cam somewhere. It just, you know, so hopefully they'll show all of that by the time you get there.
Yeah.
Have you got any new outfit cosplay? You doing cosplay? I say dressing up. You doing cosplaying at San Diego?
No. Well, Adam's doing Spider-Man, and I think I might do my Jaina solo. But other than that, no.
No new stuff.
No, we've been busy people. Building bars is hard work.
I know. I can imagine inhaling all that asbestos and all that kind of stuff.
I hope I'm not inhaling asbestos. I will call to cancel. I don't even know.
Get him down there. Well, thanks so much for being on, Tracy. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah.
I just had to get you on. All this Star Wars stuff had happened, and I know you're not on podcasting as much as you used to, so I knew you'd probably burst in to talk some Star Wars.
Yeah, always.
You're welcome anytime. Come on. So, do you want to shout out your socials?
I'm Feminist Nerd on Twitter. And yeah, that's my socials.
Come down if you're ever in Chapel Street.
Yeah.
And the bar's done. You can come down and have a drink.
Definitely.
When's it opening? Have you got a date?
We do not have a date set yet. We thought it was this week, and it changed very rapidly. So yeah.
So it's really close.
Yeah, it's definitely next week. But yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, great. Well, I will probably see you down there in the next few weeks then.
Yeah, definitely. I will invite you to the soft opening, and we can maybe do a podcast from the soft opening.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Content.
All right.
Yeah,
Content.
great.
All right.
Awesome. Well, you can catch us at StarWarsSpeltOut.com. All our stuff's there. Pretty straightforward. And yeah, thanks again, Tracy, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Cheers, Josh.
Bye.